Guys, we got a great show today, and I'm not sure anybody gives a lick about what our thoughts are on snow removal or on USA Honduras. We'll get right to it, and that is Jim Harbaugh.
I'm hurt.
That's what I did last night.
Right.
That's all I did is watch Twitter.
Look, it was remarkable, and Tom, you're the one that texted me and texted the group about it, and it was like a holy bleep kind of text message. I could not believe it. Actually,
I checked to make sure I was on the right Adam Schefter first.
Yeah, not Adam Schefter.
Not Adam Schefter.
Like actually Adam Schefter.
That can get you in trouble.
So he broke the news last night. Now I'm going to be saying Schefter. Schefter said that Jim Harbaugh called Michigan to inform the school that despite interviewing with the Vikings, he will be returning to the school for the 2022 season. Michigan was, in other words, elated to get Harbaugh's decision. And he also told Ward Manuel, according to Adam Schefter, that this would not be reoccurring every single year. He would stay at Michigan as long as Michigan wants him. That was per Adam Schefter. Dan Graziano, just before we get into this, he tweeted out that the Minnesota Vikings have settled on the Rams offensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell, who's like 36 years old, I believe.
Doesn't call plays.
Young man's game. Of course, Sean McVay calls the plays.
If you're Sean McVay's friend, you got a job in the NFL.
Would be the fourth former Sean McVay Rams assistant to come in. NFL head coach Matt LaFleur, Zach Taylor, by the way, who he's coaching in the Super Bowl against, and Brandon Staley. McVay in his fifth season as Rams coach. So he's got a little bit of a coaching tree he's building up over there. Tom Pelissero. I think this is interesting as well because in Schefter's tweet there, Braylon, nowhere did it say that Harbaugh is returning to Michigan after declining an offer from the Minnesota Vikings. That's because an offer never came. The Vikings met with Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh for 9 hours. This is yesterday, but the team did not make an offer. So Harbaugh returns to Ann Arbor. Kevin O'Connell, the next name in Minnesota. So Braylon, I will come to you. You asked the very important question to John U. Bacon yesterday and to Angelique Chingelis yesterday, which in all likelihood, to me, I cannot believe he gets on that plane and doesn't believe he's got an offer locked in hand. However, you are the one that said twice, not once, but twice yesterday, that what happens if he doesn't get this offer?
First and foremost, let me go back to Kevin O'Connell. I mentioned Kevin O'Connell last Friday, talking about because I had played with him in New York with the New York Jets, and I talked about his prowess as understanding offenses and him wanting to be an offensive coordinator, him wanting to be a head coach, and then we talk about him again on Monday, and now we're talking about him taking the job in Minnesota. So shout out to Kevin O'Connell, former teammate, great guy, and I'm sure he'll do great things. I knew Jim. I don't even want to say I told you so because it's so funny to me. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing for Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is in a very unique position where, a lot of people want you to be fired the year before. Last year, a lot of people wanted him gone. Say, you know what, the Jim Harbaugh experiment hasn't worked, especially after the COVID year. You guys want to throw the COVID year out. I don't want to because there are a lot of teams that didn't, and some of them were in the playoffs last year. So I don't want to throw that out because it happened. It's a real deal. It's a real thing. Fast forward. Gets his salary stricken from $8 million to $4.3 million. Right in that moment, if you were unhappy with that, don't take the deal. I've said that. Don't take the deal. He took the deal though, right? Okay, took the deal. He knew in that moment that he didn't like that. Like he didn't like being made to take a deal. Like he didn't like being put in that position, but he took the deal. And then he coached this year. He knew in the back of his mind that he was going to do this the whole time. He knew that he was going to get to a point where when the season was over, no matter what happened, especially if they did well, which they did, he was going to leave and he was going to stick it to Michigan for making him feel that way. Well, guess what? Nobody wanted you. And then you go out there because Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who was on the staff, he wasn't the GM, but he was on the staff with you in San Fran. You thought that this guy is going to bring you in just to give you the job. No matter what you think of arrogance, you still have to prepare. No matter what you think in terms of somebody giving you the job or putting you in a good position or somebody putting a good word for you, you still got to prepare. You still got to come with notes. You still got to come with what you can do to move that franchise forward. Well, what you can do to help that franchise out, man. I believe I can do this for the Minnesota Vikings organization. Because, he has to interview because everybody's young right now. You just said KO is 34 or 36. Jim's 59 this year. You got to talk about how can you relate to the players? How can you relate to the fast pace or this new pace? He didn't come like that. He came waiting to get offered the job. And I guarantee you in those interviews, the coaches on the staff, the GM on the staff, the owners in that meeting, they're like, what the hell is this interview about? And now you got to come back to Ann Arbor where, oh, by the way, you didn't tell any of your players. You didn't tell any of your players that this was a potential during the year. At the end of the year, when everybody's doing the celebrations at the Big Ten Championship, when they're going down to the Orange Bowl getting ready to play Georgia, when it's all over, you never told any of your players that this was a potential. You kept this to yourself because you're selfish, because you're a selfish individual. And guess what? You come back to Michigan and you talk and you call Ward Manuel on the phone and you say, hey, if that job is still open, I would like to be there if you will have me. You know what that sounds like? Remember when you were young? You were in my age range, Ryan. Remember when your parents take you to Toys R Us and tell you not to touch? You know what? They say, don't touch nothing. And you touch stuff anyway. And you get that whooping in the middle of Toys R Us. And then you go home and they send you to your room. And then you crawl out from down the steps after about an hour or two and you're like, hey, Mom, I'm sorry. Is it okay if I come out of my room? And your mom looks at you, she feels bad, and she's like, I love you, son. Yeah, just don't do that again. Same thing happened yesterday. He crawled out of his room. Hey, Ward, is that job still ready for me? I will do anything if you have me again. Jim is embarrassed, and he should be because he did this to himself.
I think you and I talked in the back, Braylon.
Yeah.
If I were him, I probably would just have, I'm taking the year off.
Yep.
I wouldn't have gone back had I done what he's done. I would not have gone back and taken a deal. Regardless, he's not getting a Mel Tucker deal now, for sure. So he's going to be under Mel Tucker. A state college is going to be paid more. A guy that never was in the Super Bowl. A guy that never coached as a head coach until not too long ago. Colorado gave him a chance, and he comes to Michigan State. He's making $10 million a year, $9.5 million a year. Harbaugh's not going to make that money. I would have taken time off. Hell, I might have went and coached with my brother in Baltimore. I would have done something else. It's not a good look. And you know what? It's not going to be a good look because the rest of the Big Ten, they're going to be telling their recruits, you don't want to go to Michigan. You don't know what this guy's going to be doing. You really want to go play for him?
If I'm Michigan State, if I'm Ohio State, I'm smiling ear to ear this morning.
Of course.
I'm laughing my ass off at what Jim Harbaugh has getting ammo-wise as it relates to the recruiting circle that would be 2023. You talk about something funny. You said you would coach for free. Shoot, if I was Ward, I would say prove it.
I have a slightly different perspective than both of you guys.
Hey, that's why
great.
It's an opinion.
And here's my opinion on it. I'm glad he didn't get the job, and I'm glad he's back at Michigan. Because I believe that the University of Michigan football program is better with Jim Harbaugh than without him, especially as we navigate this new NIL and all this. I'm not sure Michigan is the job that it once was. I'm not sure the kind of coach that the University of Michigan can go get. Because all the good, it's just like Les Miles. What did Brady Quinn say? Or whoever the person said it, you either join him or you go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Maybe that was Colin Cowherd.
It was.
Colin.
You can't win. I don't want to say can't. It's very difficult to win big in college football unless you are one of those Southeastern Conference schools.
He was talking about Brian Kelly.
And
you can't go to Notre Dame. No, he just knew he wasn't going to win.
Michigan State. Your cap is a Big Ten championship and maybe beating Ohio State every other year.
I understand that, but what does that have to do with a 59-year-old man that's pouting and tried to hold your team hostage?
Right.
And now all of a sudden he has to come back.
So to me, winning cures everything.
Right.
Kill the music for a second because I want to get through this. Winning cures everything. If Jim Harbaugh goes out there next year and has a repeat season, you run it back with a Big Ten championship, how many people are going to care that he flirted with the NFL or the Minnesota Vikings or the Las Vegas Raiders or the Chicago Bears or insert name here. I mean, you look back at Tom Izzo. He did this multiple times.
Is this flirting, though? He got turned down.
Look,
that's not flirting.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Braylon.
Flirting is pinching a butt.
Braylon,
he ain't pinch a butt.
The big thing here is this. If Jim Harbaugh had a dream and a want that he needed to satisfy, if you want to go win, you want to go do something with, forget about coaching.
Right.
If you want to go do something in your life and you feel that now is the time to go explore that.
Right.
And then you do the exploring and you realize, you know what? I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to do that. I won't have the opportunity to do that. So maybe that drive, that dream of winning a Super Bowl has escaped and you have a renewed sense of energy or life for college football, for the University of Michigan, for the job that you have. I'm not saying that you're wrong at all, because I think there's a large portion, probably more people that agree with you on this than with me on this, and I accept that. But I just think that winning cures everything. And if the NFL, anybody in the NFL, offered him an opportunity, there is I said this the other day, there's a 100% chance of certainty he would have taken that job over the University of Michigan. He did not choose the University of Michigan over the Vikings or over the NFL. That decision was made for him.
He chose it because he didn't have anywhere else to go.
Exactly. It was already made for him because the NFL has chosen not to hire him. But to me, as a Michigan fan, I think he is – go back to that Monday after Michigan beat Ohio State. To me, how many people in this room felt like the tide was turning a little bit? Felt that Michigan was on the right track, that Michigan, this thing was going to start to snowball in the positive direction, maybe even overtake Ohio State. At least that's how we felt after that Monday. What has changed in that time? Michigan's got a top 10 recruiting class. They've got the returning Big Ten champs. They're playing with confidence, and their coach is back.
They've lost 4 coaches.
I understand. Alabama loses coaches every year.
This ain't Alabama.
I know, but so does Ohio State, and that's what
this ain't Ohio State.
Braylon, at good, if you are a good NFL team, if you're a good college team, you're going to lose coaches every year. You're going to lose players every year. That's part of success at any level. If you're insert job here. I mean, look at what's the guy for LA, the Rams. He just lost his 5th head coach that he'll have. I mean, the turnover will happen if you are a good college program, if you're a good NFL team. That happens every year. You got to be able to withstand that. Can he withstand that? I don't know. We'll see.
The difference is it's not like he stayed and those guys left. He tried to leave too. And he didn't tell anybody that he was trying to leave.
Well, he told recruits, apparently from the...
But he didn't tell any of the players that are on his team now. He apparently told recruits. He didn't tell any of the players that are on his team now.
I don't know that. You may know that. I don't know that.
The big thing about it is I'm not even saying that people shouldn't be happy that he's a coach. Because everything you said in terms of it is hard to get a coach. He does win here. He has won here. I get all that. I'm just saying be on alert for who he really is all I'm saying. He does give them the best opportunity to win. I never said he didn't. And I never say anything about him coming back in terms of him coaching this year and what they will be able to do next year. I agree with all that. But what I was more so making is he always talks about Michigan man and Michigan is. He should have been a Michigan man until a war up front. But when the year started, I'm thinking about going to the NFL next year. Told his players, thinking about going to the NFL. This is what I'm thinking about. It's easy to tell players that nowadays because everybody's leaving. It was easy to do that. He didn't do that. He tried to get out. Now he has to come back with his tail between his legs and now try to get some of that back. He will, and people will forget all about this. Michigan fans love Jim Harbaugh. It's the occult. They will be happy he's come back.
I was again. I think Michigan fans love the 2021 version of Jim Harbaugh. I think after 2020, a lot of Michigan fans were getting ready to get him out of here.
I doubt it. I disagree because I got into a lot of arguments on Twitter. I don't mind taking all that smoke on Twitter with Michigan fans. It is what it is. They still wanted Jim Harbaugh. Michigan fans fear mediocrity. That's more reason why they fell in love with Jim Harbaugh. They fear mediocrity, and mediocrity is what they believed Michigan was before Jim Harbaugh got here, which they were. You've reached the end of the video. You know what you should do? Press like. You know you like the content that we have here at Woodward Sports Network. I'm Braylon Edwards from the bottom line. Subscribe to us right now.